Alright, welcome to this video where I am going to discuss briefly as I can my top 10 favorite flicks of 2025 so far. Alright, number 10 is Baby Invasion by Harmony Korine. This is the second film of his new phase where he just throws filmmaking rules out the window. There is no character here, there is no plot. This is functioning and operating on vibes only. And what makes it interesting is, and by doing so, you can pretty much make it mean anything. It's very interpretive to your own mind. So I think really the two main ways you can interpret it is that what you're seeing is actually the video game of where people break into houses armed, robbing families, people, rich people, and torturing and killing them. Or you can see it as people actually live streaming inspired by that game to go and break in and rob and torture and kill people. So, to me, this is in a nutshell. I'll put my full review in the description here. What it's really commenting on is our culture, especially our youth culture, their obsession with achieving attention and fame through garnering clicks and followers and subscribers and likes and stuff like that, and how they'll do pretty much anything to do so. It takes that to an extreme level, of course, but who knows, maybe sooner rather than later something like this will actually be the norm. That has yet to be seen. I actually really wanted this to be more disturbing and more violent, and I think also the point of it is to confront people like me with that. Like, yes, they're torturing and killing people in this film, but you don't really see any of it. You kind of see aftermath. There's just people on the floor with a towel over their head that's bloody, and that's pretty much it. You never really see any of the actions. And people like me want to twisted people like me kind of want to see it, and Korine denying us that really holds a mirror up to our ugly desires. Like, why would you want to see that? What's wrong with you? And I guess there's a lot wrong with me. All right, number 9 is the first of 2 films by Steven Soderbergh this year. So this one is Presence. It's a ghost movie from the perspective of a ghost. So the camera is the eyes, so to speak, of the ghost, and it's shot on an iPhone. Yet there is a caveat. They probably shot on an iPhone, but with like a bunch of expensive lenses. Probably not consumer affordable lenses. However, I still think you could watch this and be inspired to do something similar or to do your own thing, because it still sort of has that iPhone quality to it. And that's not a bad thing. That's not a derogatory thing. I think that's actually a good thing, and I think Steven Soderbergh would find that fantastic if this inspires anybody to kind of go make something similar or something of their own with really not worrying about having all the right gear. But yeah, I do think, however, the acting is pretty amateurish, but it's got two new people, I think, to film in the lead. Has Lucy Liu, who's actually bad, and Chris Sullivan, I think, is pretty good, and it's really well paced, I think. It's really short. It's really well shot. The camera really does hover and feel otherworldly. And the music, I believe, is piano-driven, if I remember right. And I like that. I thought it was good. And it does have an unforgettable ending. I do think I wish they would tweak it a little bit, but I can't say without spoiling it. But regardless, overall, it's a really unforgettable ending. All right, number 8 is Ari Aster's Eddington. So this was a lot of people's highly anticipated film, even for me, but I was slightly worried because I thought Ari Aster might go for easy political layups, political posturing, getting political points and virtue signaling and all that. But I guess he's not that guy, and I'm grateful for that. Act 1 is going to piss off liberals. Act 2 is going to piss off conservatives. And Act 3 is just going to piss off everybody. It stars Joaquin Phoenix as Joe Cross, a sheriff of a fictional small town called Eddington during the COVID era, and he decides to run against the incumbent mayor, who is played by Pedro Pascal. So this does not do what I expected it to. I think Aster is trying to distance himself from the horror guy, distance himself from the absurdist craziness that was Beau is Afraid. That's kind of where I thought this was going to go. I thought this was just going to escalate into really bizarre heights, but it doesn't. Aster is really doing something grounded here. His portrayal of the COVID era is remarkably realistic. He doesn't really exaggerate or hyperbolize what life was like during COVID, what we saw and experienced in our own lives, and what we saw and experienced in our own lives online, like both in real life and online. Feels pretty realistic, and that is something to say in itself. However, I think this really needed to be tense throughout. This should have been like a white-knuckled thing. You're just waiting for it to explode, but it's more like a deflated balloon to me, and that's kind of disappointing. In the third act itself, its conclusion just kind of seems like a first draft conclusion. It's like the first idea he went with. But yeah, like I said, it's really grounded. It's really realistic. It doesn't make a show of itself. It's pretty good. I should probably just rewatch it with knowing what I know about it now. All right, number 7 is The Surfer by Lorcan Finnegan. I know you're going to be like, what? You liked that? It's got Nicolas Cage in it. Yes, okay, I did like it. And yes, Nicolas Cage is in it, and I think he is great in it. So for one, I gotta say, I think this is intentionally supposed to be funny. To me, what I got out of it is that it's parroting the Cannes Film Festival sensibilities. It's poking fun at that. All of it is so to the extent where it's actually pretty funny. And in terms of story, it is funny at times, it's even sad at times, and somehow it's both at the same time sometimes. Nicolas Cage is this guy who wants to buy the house he grew up with. It's a huge house on a beach, so it's probably really expensive. It is really expensive. We learned the number. I think it's like $1.5 million or something. And he's just waiting to get approved for the loan to do it. But he waits in the parking lot of the nearby park in the community or whatever. And on that beach are these hoodlums, these thugs that will bully and terrorize pretty much anybody who is on the beach that doesn't live in the area. And since technically Nick Cage does not live in the area yet, he gets bullied and terrorized throughout. Now, this is a very metaphorical, symbolic film, and I can't spoil it for you, but really don't think about it literally, and you can interpret this in all sorts of ways, and I think that's fun. I think Nick Cage is great, like I said. I like the visuals, how saturated the colors are, and I thought it was funny and sad. At the end of the day, really misunderstood and really underrated. Okay, number 6, I am shocked to say this. I never thought I would say this. Number 6 is Thunderbolts. I'm not even going to say the filmmaker's name because it doesn't matter in Marvel movies. These are made by committee and fan feedback pretty much. But this one kind of, as the kids say, hits different. It's very low stakes. Its action scenes are pretty laid back. The performances are pretty good. Florence Pugh proves she's a professional. She will put in 100% in something like Midsommar or a Marvel movie. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is pretty good, and Lewis Pullman is pretty good. And there's actually pretty much no villain, you could say. If there is a villain, it's depression and trauma. And the message through that is how you can use your painful past to fuel your future. I think that's great. The masses are just going to generally get the themes of like found family and friendship and teamwork. And that's all good and dandy. There's nothing wrong with that. This was pretty good. It's probably, in my opinion, the best MCU film. But take that with a grain of salt because I hate about 99% of these movies. All right, number 5 is F1 by Joseph Kosinski. This is a well-built, well-oiled, old-school Hollywood crowd pleaser. There's nothing groundbreaking here. I guess you could say there's some groundbreaking visuals in the way they attached cameras in and outside of the cars, but Joseph Kosinski did that pretty much in his previous film, Top Gun Maverick. So I guess that was more groundbreaking then than it is now. They just kind of adjusted it to racing cars. So it's really well paced. It's really well edited. It's really well shot. It's really well acted. The whole ensemble is great. You got Brad Pitt, of course. You got Javier Bardem, Damson Idris, I don't know how to say it, Carrie Condon, Kim Bodnia. They're all great. It's just old school. It's fun. It's satisfying. Although it does have an ending I don't think is as happy as many people might think, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, of course. I do think there's a couple plot points that are repetitive and unnecessary. a particular character's integrity is violated pretty much, and I didn't like that. But overall, it's a great time, and I know it's too late, but you had to have seen this on IMAX. It was shot for IMAX, not in IMAX, but either way, it was a great experience seeing it there. All right, number 4 is Steven Soderbergh's second film of the year. It's Black Bag. It is a espionage/spy movie where Michael Fassbender and Kate Blanchett play a married couple who are both assassins, and they end up being tasked to kill each other. I don't know how I can say this without spoiling it, so if this is a spoiler, I'm sorry. It's really about the sanctity of marriage, and I think that is just wonderful. But it's also bigger budget than Presents, so it's better paced, better edited, and better shot, better acted, better scored, and it was a good time. I liked it a lot. All right, number 3 is Sinners by Ryan Coogler. I thought this was pretty good. I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure it's great, but it's definitely not a masterpiece. For one, I thought some certain scenes that were in the dark were a little too dark. I had a hard time seeing certain scenes. I kind of had to squint. And also, maybe more importantly, its messaging is to me, in my opinion, is at worst dishonest, at best just wrong. I'm not going to explain why, but the message to me seems to say that a simulation robs your soul. But I actually thought this was going to be more about how white people steal from black culture. That's probably a more truthful theme, even if it's kind of easier to accomplish or say. Because just think about it. Just think about it in music alone. This has got a lot to do with music, so we'll do music. White people, we've stolen blues, we've stolen jazz, we've stolen rock and roll, and we're still trying hard to steal hip-hop and rap. But again, like I said, even though certain scenes are dark, overall it's shot really well. It's really well casted and well acted. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 roles, and it's great. And the music is great. What's his name? Ludwig Göransson. He's just a master. However, the rock or metal-like tracks are pretty corny and cheesy. And speaking of corny and cheesy, the scene that everybody talks about, I can't decide if it's corny or profound. And that actually might be the magic of it. All right, number 2, I can't believe I'm saying this as well, is Happy Gilmore 2. I generally don't like sequels, especially ones that come decades later. This one comes 29 years after the original. And I saw the trailer when it came out, and I was like, oh no, this is going to be awful. It just looked like a remake with the same jokes as the first movie. But there are callbacks, some of which work really well. Some, were just easy shots for nostalgia. And then there were flashbacks. None of the flashbacks to the old movie were necessary. Absolutely none of them. And I do think the maxi golf stuff gets a little too ridiculous even for a Happy Gilmore movie. But overall, it was having me laugh out loud consistently. And I can't remember the last time a new comedy did that. So I gotta give it some credit there. And it really feels like a 90s comedy. It feels like something is coming back. And it really works. And it adds a little new depth to the Sandler formula. There's really some character depth. There's some dramatic depth that I was never going to expect here. And most of that works. So kudos to everybody who was involved in making this movie. I don't know if it's going to hold up on a rewatch, so I'm going to put that off as long as I can. I'm just going to hold it close and remember how much it made me laugh that first time. All right, number 1 is The Girl with the Needle by Magnus von Horn. Yes, somebody might say, hey, this is technically a 2024 movie, but it's not. It came out in Cannes Film Festival or something in 2024, but it was not released in any public movie theater until January 2025 in Poland. So that's what I am going by. So this is a very bleak and dark and uncompromising film. It's black and white with really standout visuals. The acting is really great. Its vibe is really eerie and disturbing, and so is the story. It's loosely based on the real life serial killer of a woman in early 20th century Denmark who murdered 9 to 25 babies. She was given these babies by people who, didn't feel ready for it, weren't allowed to have the baby, or they just can't financially. Whatever the reason is, they give it to this lady who claims, yeah, I take babies and I give them to families who need or want babies. And so people trustingly give their babies to this lady. And what does she do? She flushes them down the toilet, basically. She puts them down a water pipe and off they go. So yeah, it's not a lighthearted film. It's not upbeat. It's something you got to be ready for. But when you watch it, it's going to shake you, but you can't deny its craft. You cannot deny its power. Not only is it my favorite film of the year so far, I do think it's objectively the best film of the year so far too. All right, well, there you have my list. You can praise me, or you can just chew me out in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe, because next week I'm going to do a video of my 10 least favorite films of the year so far. Yeah, so thanks for watching, folks. Have at it in the comment section. Fight me. Let's do it.
Why are there so many movies?